Hey there, guys. Welcome in. 30 books in 30 weeks. It is that time for today's today's takeaway, today's personal development nugget. So, as you guys are coming in and joining me on this live stream, please feel free to share this video out, invite some other people to join in into the conversation. 30 books in 30 weeks is all about rating my personal development library and bringing you useful tools that you can put in your toolbox and amass so that when the need arises, you have something to pull from that's going to propel you forward. Hey, Barbara, how are you? So for those of you who may be joining in for the first time, you're not really familiar with me or what it is that I do or what this whole 30 books in 30 weeks is about, allow me to explain. So a couple of months ago, what's going on, Mark? I started a personal development reading challenge. And I started in November, so we did it all in November, all of December. And in 2018, I committed to myself and to my clients it was time to raise the bar and really make 2018 our best year ever. And so to that point, I decided that I was going to expand on the reading challenge and really take a deeper dive on some personal development subjects. And so I decided to take 30 books, go over them in 30 weeks, and share each and every single day a nugget from each book each week. And this week we are in week 7. We started this at the beginning of 2018, and we're studying out of the book Loving What Is. This book right here is literally my favorite book of all time. This book changed my life. And so it's been exciting to be able to share with you all the strategies and the tools that I personally have used and pulled from this book. Her technique is magnificent. The author's name is Byron Katie, and absolutely stunning book. Tremendous information, tremendous technique, and it is a game changer once you learn how to apply the strategies. And so for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Marcy Batiste. I'm a public speaker, I'm an author, and I am a reality-based success and recovery trainer. And so that's why this book is so important to me. Everything that I do with my coaching clients is based in reality and keeping them in a space of self-ownership. In addition to my coaching, I'm known for a couple of things. Number one, I live life on Mars. That's always very important to me. Number two, I'm sold out to my happiness. And my favorite thing of all is helping women shine and really truly taking them on a journey for them to discover and then fully embrace what I call their star power. And by embracing their star power, then they're able to take that knowledge, take that information, and share that with others and help other women shine. And so that's like my favorite thing in the whole wide world. And so, hey Terry, what's going on? Hey Jimmy. So that's a little bit about me. I also have a training company called Bankable Success Advisors where I do public speaking engagements, training and workshops on domestic and workplace violence, as well as working with small businesses on business contingency planning. But the crux of what I love the most is, like I said, working with my group coaching clients, my one-on-one coaching clients, and really truly giving these personal development strategies and building up their toolbox. And so this week we've been talking about the book Loving What Is. And like I said, it's my favorite book of all time. We've been talking throughout this week. I shared with you the technique about how to do a judgment worksheet where you really truly take the time to identify the things that cause you stress, the things that cause you pain, the things that frustrate you and irritate you the most about the people around you. Might be family, might be friends, might be a spouse, might be people from your past. Anything that's causing you pain in the present, let's apply some judgment to it. And I shared with you 6 questions that you can ask. The videos, if in case you missed that, they're all on my YouTube channel and the link is in this. What's going on, Donovan? And then yesterday we talked about, for the last 2 days then we talked about how do you break that worksheet down? How do you break those concepts apart? And there are 4 questions that you ask. Is it true? Is it absolutely true? And if so, how do I know it to be true? Who am I with that thought? And who am I without that thought? We want to know how we're trying to identify how we react. You're right, Jimmy. Most people have no idea the pain that they're in. And the problem is then we go and we try and enter into these relationships and we're so filled up with pain and grief and resentment and anger and discontent that we just spread that. I absolutely spread it. So how do I apply it in my life? That's what I'm actually going to talk about. What's going on, Joy? I'm glad you asked that, Jimmy, because that's what we're going to talk about today. Is really how do you take these strategies and apply them into your life? And so I titled this Best Friend or Worst Enemy, because really that's what reality is. It's either going to be your best friend or it's going to be your worst enemy. And that's all based on how you deal with reality. How do you process reality, and how do you learn to, as the book indicates, love what is, because reality is what it is. And so when I was studying this and doing my work, I was looking at what are the things that most people want the most. They want love, they want appreciation, and they want approval. And those are our innermost desires. And they're pretty universal. I would venture to guess you're not going to find anyone who doesn't want to love or doesn't want to be loved, feel love. I can't think of anyone who doesn't ultimately want to feel that people approve of what they're doing, approve of who they are as a person. And everyone wants to feel appreciated. They're normal. What's causing problems and what becomes problematic is when you're seeking that outside approval, but you haven't found it within. It's an inside job. Approval is an inside job. Love is definitely an inside job. Appreciation is an inside job. And so most times we're out here trying to scoop this up from everyone else. Hey, Pepper Thomas. We're out here trying to scoop this up from everybody else, and we haven't found it within ourselves. So how are you going to describe to a partner, for instance, you enter into a new relationship and they say, well, what are you looking for? Well, if you don't have a clue, it's going to be pretty hard for you to describe to them what you're looking for. So, we crave it, but at the same time, we don't really know what it looks like all grown up. We don't know what it's going to look like as it manifests in our life. So, and you can't just say, for instance, if I say, I just want to be loved, if I said that to one of you, I said, I just want you to love me. Well, your perception of love and what you experience and how you demonstrate love is different for you than maybe how I need to be loved and how I need to feel love and how I need to receive love. And one of the books that we're going to go into later on this year is 5 Love Languages. Most people have read that. Few people understand it and apply the concepts. So to that vein, if I can't show you and demonstrate in action how I need for you to be in relation with me, how can I expect you to be in relation with me in a successful manner? So loving what is, then we ask those questions about what do we know to be true? How does that fit with love, appreciation, and approval? Because that's our innermost desires, but we're seeking it outward. We have to begin to look inward. And the other day I was talking to you guys about minding your business, my business, and God's business. That's all there is. If that's all there is, my business is within my control. Your business is within your control. And what's out of both of our control becomes God's business, and that's the reality. That's reality-based living, is staying in your business, living in your business, minding your business, tending to your business, focusing on your business. But so many times we're all like, oh, well, he doesn't do this or she doesn't do that. It's not about them. Because when you start saying he should or she should or he shouldn't or she shouldn't, you're minding their business. And I'm going to need you to bring that back. Let's get back to reality. And the reality is, what aren't you doing that's leading into those types of situations and scenarios? Let's see, Jimmy's got a comment here. So what do you do to contribute to the end of your last relationship? I also asked so people can focus on self-improvement. Don't need to continue. Exactly. So right, Jimmy. That's just it. Most of us don't know the answers to those questions. He said, asking the person, what did you contribute to your last relationship? If you ask that question to 10 people, 9.8 of them aren't going to be able to tell you what their contributions were. They don't know what they brought to the table, but yet they want to come to a 7-course dinner and eat, get a full belly, walk away, complete, satisfied, full of love, approval, and appreciation. It doesn't work that way. Justin, love you, baby. How are you? So, loving what is. And Jimmy asked the question a little bit ago, how did I apply it in my life? So let me give you an example. One of my long-standing desires for appreciation, approval, acceptance, whatever you want to call it, love, definitely love, was from my biological father. And I never did get that. To this day, I still haven't gotten that. I have a relationship with my siblings, my half-siblings, that is absolutely phenomenal. Each of them have a different relationship with our father than I have. I have no relationship with him whatsoever. And for much of my life, that was one of the things that lack of approval, that lack of love, I internalized that to the point to say, if your daddy doesn't love you, no one will. No one can. And it was when I started doing this work, so that mindset for me, and that desire for his approval, his love, his acknowledgement, then led me on a path of seeking that approval from other males. And so I went through a whole lot of self-esteem issues as a result. I had this whole dating mentality of, if you like me, I like you. And so I made a whole lot of mistakes in the dating arena. I made a whole lot of mistakes along the way throughout the years, both with intimate relationships, friend relationships, because I was seeking that approval. I was trying to prove to myself, to the world, but more than anything, I was trying to prove to my father that he missed out, that I'm pretty cool, I'm pretty awesome, I'm freaking amazing, quiet as it's kept. But he wasn't buying what I was selling, but I continued to sell. And so I kept doing things and to try and, like, if I can just do this, if I can just be enough of this, then he'll acknowledge me, he'll love me, he'll want to have a relationship with me. And it never worked, because guess what? I was minding his business through all of that. And I had no idea that I wasn't minding my own business. I made everything I did about him. That's his business. It's not my job to convince you to like me. Either you do or you don't. Either way, I'm straight. And that's my reality. That is, when I talk about loving what is, when I talk about living life on Mars, when I talk about being sold out to my happiness, that is it. I am straight. You can like me or you can love me, you can leave me alone. Either way it goes, I'm going to be fine, because what I realize is that's just merely your choice. It's merely your preference. It is 100% your business. Has nothing to do with me. Whether or not you like me, don't care. Irrelevant. And I don't say that in a manner that's intended to be arrogant in any way. I don't say it in a way that is meant to, suggest any sort of superiority or anything like that. It simply means that if you like me, cool. If you don't, that's fine. And when relationships don't work out, cool. That's fine. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make me a bad person. It makes us a bad fit. And that's how living life in reality works. And so the thing about being in reality-based living is understanding that you always have the say so. You have the end word. It's your word. It's your world. My world, my life, my rules. Live life on Mars. It's my world. I have the final say so. So you get to choose who stays in your life. You get to choose what role you allow them to play. You get to teach them how to be in relation with you in a way that is healing and comforting and securing for you. What you don't get to do is blame them when everything goes bad. You have to own the good stuff just like you have to own the bad stuff. It's all your stuff. It's not anybody else's stuff. And it's just like it's not your job to make them like you, it's not their job to make you like them. And so we're learning to apply these strategies, asking those questions. So when I asked myself, when the story I told myself was my dad doesn't love me. The reality When I asked the question, is it true? In my emotions, in my heart, it was true. But in my head, I had to say I have not a clue, because I've never talked to the man. Don't know what the hell he thinks. Never, ever, 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 ever. What I also know to be true is that he made the decision not to have a relationship with me before I ever took my first breath. That had totally nothing to do with me. And once I got that light bulb to turn on, it was a game changer for me. I was able to say, you know what? I could finally see that the person I wanted the most approval from, the most love from, the most appreciation from, if I could live and be straight without that, I could certainly be straight and live without a whole lot of other people's approval. Absolutely. Without condition. Let's see, Joy had the same life experience with my dad and realized that in order for me to be happy, I had to bless and release him, my dad, from my life to be free and happy. Exactly, Joy. And that's what I had to do. When you get into that space where you are truly operating in a place of reality, you understand that my success isn't contingent upon someone else liking me. Not even as much as we might want a relationship with our biological parents or a sibling or a friend, or we want a relationship to work out, an intimate relationship to work out. We want a marriage to work out. Sometimes it just ain't in the cards. But I promise you, you're going to be okay. You will be straight, because it not working out, sometimes when they say when God closes a door, another one opens. Sometimes there was a couple doors to begin with and you just chose the wrong one. So it's not even about him having to close the door. I just need you to back up and go pick door number 2 instead of door number 3, or go down to door number 1 and explore there. So reality is just accepting that it is what it is. Everything's going to be okay. You're going to be straight regardless, but you have to get honest about it. You have to ask yourself those questions. Is it true? Do I know for absolute that it is true? Absolute says there are no other options, no other possibilities, no other outcomes. Do I know absolute that my father does not love me? I don't know that. I can assume that based on his actions, but I do not know that for true, for absolute. He may actually be desiring a relationship with me, and just after 40 some plus years, he just don't know how to go about the recovery. He doesn't have the tools in his toolbox. He may not have the skills. I don't know, is what it amounts to. And if my answer and my truth is I really don't know, then I have to let go of that thought. And along with that thought, that means I get to let go of all the emotions that were tied to that thought. That thought led me to depression. That thought led me to obesity. That thought led me to promiscuity. That thought led me to... And then I got to blame him because I was molested when I was 12. That had nothing to do with him. It really didn't. But the story I told myself and the thought that I had said, because he didn't love me and he wasn't in a relationship with my mom, then my mom was in a relationship with this other person, and because she was in a relationship with the other person, then I knew this person, and then because of that, then I got molested. So I was seriously able to track something that happened to me 12 all the way back to my dad, who I've never ever met, because of the story that I told myself, the thought that I had about it, and the feelings that I tied to it. And once I released that, because I asked those questions and I said, the truth is, I don't have a damn clue what that man thinks. I don't have a clue whether what I thought is true or not. But what I do know to be true is I'm still straight. What I do know to be true is the molestation didn't kill me. All the struggles that I've been through haven't killed me. What I know to be true is that every day I wake up and I've already survived the worst day of my life, whatever that looked like. And so have you. That's what living and loving what is about. That's what reality-based success and recovery training is about. It's about understanding that the reality of the situation is what it is. Love what is. Decide what works for you. Remember how things feel and figure out how not to feel that way again if it gives you an icky feeling. I can't put it any more simple than that. Remember how it feels and then put strategies in place so that you don't ever have to feel that way again. But a big part of our pain and our suffering and our discontentment and our frustration comes from our thoughts. is the thought that you attach to the experience. It is not the person that created the experience, nor is it the experience. It's merely the thought that you've attached to it. Change your thought. You will then be able to change your happiness. All right. That's it. That's my message for today. Y'all have an amazing rest of your Saturday. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to wrap up, tie this up in a pretty little bow, and wrap up the conversation about loving what is, how to live a reality-based life. In the meantime and in between time, y'all, thanks for living life on Mars. We'll talk soon.